Dunc Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Some tidbits Saints-wise, as far as player personnel. The Saints had a chance to catch up with free agent safety Kurt Coleman in Indianapolis. He was released by the Panthers earlier this week. Figured they might have some sort of interest, and it sounds like the Saints aren't the only ones. Our good friend Catherine Terrell from ESPN, she's also reporting that the Bengals have met up with Kurt Coleman as well, so he's in Indianapolis basically job hunting, which if you're going to go somewhere to do it, that's the place to do it, and that's the time to do it. Also, the Saints and fullback veteran John Kuhn have mutual interest in a reunion, according to our own Herbie Teope. Of course, John Kuhn went on IR early last year. Zach Line was the fullback for much of last year. Played pretty well, but John Kuhn stuck around the team. There was talk that John Kuhn, some point after football, maybe want to get into the scouting department as far as the Saints. But if he's ready to go still, he's still a viable fullback. If they want to bring him back, I would have no problems with that. He's a good locker room guy, good veteran guy, can still get it done.
Yeah, versatile player, can catch the ball in the backfield, which is always important in the Saints offensive system. Yeah, I would think they would want him back. I mean, they don't use the fullback 10, 12 snaps a game, something like that?
Not too often. Well, if you need a Zach Line fullback dive for a touchdown, you could do it. John Kuhn still
they love that, don't they? The Saints love that 4th and 1, 3rd and 1 fullback dive.
It works. I can't remember the last time I've seen it not work. It works a lot.
Have you not watched a Les Miles coach team?
Well, this is a Sean Payton coach team.
I'm just saying.
They're the best team.
Want to see it not work? That's not a bad place to start.
Well, that is the reason why Les is doing a podcast and Sean Payton still coaching.
The Saints are very successful, it seems, at getting short yardage conversions. We always talk about the quarterback sneak and the Drew jumping over the top, sticking the ball out, extending his reach. And then other teams, it just drives me berserk how hard they make getting a foot. It's not that hard.
Also, one thing that we did not touch on, Josh Katzenstein had a chance to catch up with Jeff Ireland.
Yes.
Wrote a story about that. And Jeff was not shy about his intentions for his future. He, quote unquote, absolutely hopes to be a general manager again one day, but here's his quote. I'm not in a hurry. Josh had a chance to catch up with him on Wednesday. I told myself when I got to New Orleans that I was going to help this team build. I'd have to really think twice about leaving the New Orleans Saints before we win a Super Bowl, but sometimes those jobs come and you can't turn them down. Jeff, I've always, not always, but when Jeff Ireland was hired, there was always that possibility of maybe at some point in the next few years, if a team comes calling for Jeff Ireland to be a GM, that maybe Mickey Loomis gets elevated into a team president type of role, just like, say, maybe a Rich McKay, like in Atlanta. I think they would fight to keep Jeff Ireland. He's done such a great job with the college department. I think he's certainly helped build his resume to becoming a GM again after what happened in Miami, where he kind of went down in flames in Miami.
Yeah, I think he actually is very happy here because he's not under the microscope and he can just do the scouting work, which is really his bread and butter. At heart, he's a scout. So I think he's been a great addition because that's not Mickey Loomis's strength. Mickey Loomis came up from the business ops side of a football organization, and that's his strength. And then you add in Jeff Ireland. I think Jeff Ireland will be the next general manager of the Saints. I think at some point Mickey Loomis is going to move upstairs, become more, like you said, a president like a Rich McKay. And I think Jeff Ireland will stay here because I think he's very happy here and be the GM. And I think that'd be a great boon for the Saints because I think what he's done speaks for itself. His ability to scout, not only find prospects, but fit the system that the Saints run. And that's been a problem in the past is they've gotten some good players, but they don't really fit what Sean Payton wants to do or Dennis Allen wants to do. Jeff Ireland seems to be a perfect scout as far as marrying personnel to scheme.
It's not that he just did it once with the 16 class. He did it twice with the 17 class. And so you could say one time, the pieces fell, they kind of got lucky. You don't get lucky twice with so many picks. Just look at the 16 draft. Michael Thomas. You look at Von Bell. You look at Sheldon Rankins. You look at David Onyemata. All of those pieces are big-time pieces. 2017, we've documented so many times. And curious to see how Alex Anzalone responds. Curious to see how Trey Hendrickson responds. Al-Qadim Muhammad. And we're talking about those 3 guys specifically because maybe the Saints might want to upgrade at linebacker. Maybe. Maybe the Saints want to upgrade at defensive end. We talked about that so many times. But are the pieces out there for them to actually do that? Specifically at defensive end, I don't know if the pieces are out there, if they're going to have to lean on any of that.
Yeah, no, guys, and I was really going to ask your opinion specifically about Jeff Ireland and how he goes about scouting. And then on that level, what do you think that it is about the GM role in the NFL and how, in your opinion, it's changed from really the early 80s and 90s to what it is now? Because another person I think about specifically in this role is Ryan Pace. Goes to Chicago, really highly touted with the Saints, with what he was able to do, and now he's not that you would imagine that he's in any kind of spot, but
he might be in trouble.
Yeah.
If they don't get it done this year, he's probably out.
And just specifically your guys' thoughts on that, because Jeff Ireland goes from a really tough situation in Miami, he comes back to New Orleans, and again, the fact that the Saints haven't lost anybody in the front office is huge, but just the differences in just how hard that position is, specifically if you go to an organization and not have the pieces around that could help you specifically go about bringing together the best team you can.
Well, I think it goes to show you GMs come in all different shapes and sizes. I mean, Mickey Loomis has been a successful general manager, and he's not some scouting guru. Does he know what he's talking about when he's doing some of this? Sure. But say someone like Ryan Pace, he made his hay as starting at the bottom. I remember they telling us how he went to like a job fair and they found him. And he worked his way from the bottom ground floor all the way up to the Saints. And now he's a general manager. And sometimes those scouting general managers, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I don't think you see a lot of GMs in the league that are maybe like Mickey. I think there are more, say, scouting GMs per se than money men. Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I know that like Marty Herney was a former sports writer. If you remember, Dave Gettleman was a business side guy. I'm just thinking out loud. There are more than you think. But Ryan Pace was a former player. I mean, Ryan Pace, he didn't play in the NFL, but he was a college football player at Eastern Illinois, which I'm sure appealed to Sean Payton because of the Eastern Illinois background. But he played college football. I mean, so he does have an athletic background when he came in. You're right, though. He was working when I first met Ryan Pace. He was
NOLA.com.
working in the marketing department as like an intern, just a guy out there, and rose up through the ranks through hard work. Same thing with Omar Khan, who's kind of the number 2 in Pittsburgh.
Raider Pride, yo.
Yes, and Tulane graduate. But Omar was a coaching intern with the Saints and worked his way up, and now is in line. He'll be the next general manager of the Steelers when Kevin Colbert finally moves on.
Yeah, he's highly respected around the league, absolutely. All right, let's take a phone call, and then we will take a break right here on the show. 504-260-1280 is the number if you want to get involved. Let's head to NOLA East, our good buddy DJ. Hey, DJ, thanks for calling the show. What you got?
Larry, Jeff. Look, I had a question about free agency. One of the main things that is mentioned that the Saints are looking for is maybe a defensive end. I understand that Sheldon Richardson got released by the Jets. Do y'all think that the Saints would be looking at him and thinking maybe that they could, change his mindset because he's had, problems in the past? And I was just wondering because I understand the guy is still a great talent, and I just wanted to get y'all's ideas on that.
Hey, DJ, appreciate the phone call. I think you might be referring to Muhammad Wilkerson because they traded Sheldon Richardson,
to the Seahawks,
and he's a free agent, but they did just release Muhammad Wilkerson, and he was in that same draft class as Cam Jordan and the J.J. Watts and the Robert Quinns, and he was a good player. Then he got paid, and then it all went to holy hell and wasn't playing anymore. I think he's someone you look at.
Yeah,
I think you certainly look at him. Now, how much do you want to pay him, and what kind of effort? You got to certainly the character question you certainly got to look into, because I still think he's a capable player.
And Robert Quinn, we talked about him. I mean, I think they're going to look at those kind of guys, like a veteran that's going to step in and play right away. I don't think they're in the mode of let's draft somebody and put the training wheels on him and hopefully he pans out in 3 years. I think they want a guy that can step in and be in the lineup opposite Cam Jordan right away and effective, because this team is in win-now mode with Drew Brees at 39.
I'll just put it to you this way. Take it for what it is. It's a headline on Wilkerson from the New York Post, posted a day ago. Muhammad Wilkerson became a disgrace the second he quit. So you probably have some question marks there for Muhammad Wilkerson. So, all right, let's take a break right here on the show. We get back. Been teasing it. We'll hear from Sean Payton. We'll also hear from Darius Geis in the final 2 segments of the show from the NFL Scouting Combine. So come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app, Dunc Holder.